Hi, friends. How are you? So, today I thought I would do a little intro about me a little bit. My name is Stephanie. I go by Pocket Roddy 2005. There is a meaning behind that name that maybe I'll get into another time. But I started getting back into crafting like many people when the pandemic hit. I got into diamond painting. That was the first thing that got me back into it. Started diamond painting, started watching people like Rachel Ray, Mrs. Coffee, Sliding the Mislaid Pages, Michelle Bendy, some of my favorite people I still like to watch. And from there, I learned how to crochet, which is something my mom did. My mom was a crafter. She crocheted, she knitted, and she sewed. We cross stitched together. We kind of learned together. And then she passed away, and I stopped crafting for many, many years, and then got back into it. So, and then finally got back into cross stitch about a year and a half ago. And since then, it's been fantastic. It's changed a lot since way back in the 90s when I first ventured into cross stitch, and I'm having a really good time. So today I thought I'd show you the stuff I've been up to the last year and a half in cross stitch, and we'll go from there. So a kit I had sitting around and I still had my possession from way back in the 90s was a Dimensions kit with a bunch of kitties. So this is the first thing I picked back up. I had not started this at all. So I started it from scratch. It is 14 count Ada using the kit colors except the white. The white was supposed to be left blank, and I didn't like how that looked aesthetically, so it is a variegated white gray. But came out very nice. So that was the first thing that I got started and finished. I didn't think of where to put these. All right, I'll put these over there. And then shortly after I started stitching, a thing called stitch started again. I had heard about stitch. Of course, I wasn't stitching the first time I actually heard about it. So last year I actually got to participate. I was on Team Sips and Stitches, led by Jessie of Mislaid Pages. They have a YouTube channel as well, so go check them out. And this is where I started venturing into other fabrics. And I started with this one. You get pieces of it each week. It's a competition. So I started off with this one on the 28 count. My counting was a little off. So I was like, yeah, all right. We'll start another one. So I ended up doing these two. You get to choose your ending. So these are two of the endings I chose. My husband's a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And I'm not a huge Frozen fan, but the sentiment I liked. So those are those two. And of course, I started a third one as well. I apologize if you hear the dogs start acting up. They've been quiet, but of course they might start now because I'm actually doing something. And this third one. They came out very nice. I enjoy doing them very much. The headband, not my usual attire. I got this from an ornament swap. Person that sent me an ornament, I sent to somebody else this year. I just opened it this morning and I slapped this on while I was doing the little thank you video to send to them, and I just haven't taken it off yet. I keep forgetting it's actually up there, but it's okay. And then earlier this year, Jessie released the bird box. So there were three patterns in that. one from her very first officially released pattern. These 20 stitches and Michelle Bendy Stitch Designs. So Dee and Kari, Kenny Kari's design, it's called Rebirth. And these fabrics were all dyed by Jessie, and the flosses are all Dinky dyes that came in the Burke class. This one I actually finished at a retreat called Stitch North. It was in Canada in May, first weekend of May. And this was Jessie's. And of course, now I'm forgetting the names of them. This one's beautiful. Swans and irises are very special. So that is obvious choice, and very lots of meaning in that pattern. This one is Michelle Bendy's. This is Pocketbook Peacocks. I apologize, Jessie, that I don't remember the name of your pattern. I'll think of it probably right at the end. And then I do something called Dark 13 when I remember. This was my first Dark 13 project. And I actually put a signature on this one, so there's my initials and the year on the bottom. And this is using all uncalled for threads. If you need names for any of these, let me know. They're pretty, some of them are well known. And then I did a stitch along by Lola Crow that you probably have seen elsewhere, which was the Greenhouse of Oddities. And I managed to keep up with it. I started a little bit late, so I had to play catch up a little bit. This fabric is moodier than it's showing, but cameras and lighting are always tricky, as you know. This came out fantastic. I had a lot of fun with this. And this side over here with the skeleton is actually one too short, both directions. So it's too short by one stitch and it's too narrow by one stitch. So there was a lot of fudging happening with that. And then September, my birthday is in September, and a wonderful friend of mine, I know who they are, sent me this. They had not finished it at all. They literally had brave. So I went totally monogamous stitcher on this, finished it all up, and it came out quite well. And I switched out a couple colors down here because I had the heart was charted in this yellow. I didn't want the heart in yellow, so I made it bright red. I was going to make the star yellow, but then I would have been, I think, a little bit off balance color wise. This was also a kit. It wasn't a Dimensions kit, it was a different brand. And then we did Stitchy for Witchy. The Witchy Stitcher, who, if you're not aware, she made a public post. She's having a health battle right now. So in solidarity, we decided to stitch Witchy Stitcher patterns. So I stitched this, which is festive cottage. Frosted festive cottage. So she has frosted cottage and then she has festive. The festive adds the little Santa hats to the ghosties. A little Christmas decor. It was a lot of fun. It's on 14 count Ada. Using a mix of called for and uncalled for. And that is my dog Mixie. So as soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna have to let her out. And then Michelle Bendy started Bendy Stitchy started a round robin, a circle round robin. So we each chose a pattern. We stitched a quarter of that pattern. A lot of them are mandala type patterns, so they repeat. So this is the last one, the last project in my group of 4. This is Ink Circles Elemental Dragons Air. This is Vicky Craftastrophe's pattern. So I have to ship this off to her now that I'm done with it. And I'll complete the ink circles. And another thing I started in September before I got the dog wisdom thing is I started this. This is September's Revenge by Maximum Cross Stitch. So I did this for Sampler September. I started it with the intention to finish it in September. And then I got the birthday present, got sidetracked, and finished that, and then came back to this and didn't not finish this until November. So it took a little bit longer than planned. This is all called for Roxy Flosco threads on uncalled for even weave. So that has been my journey of finishes so far. I of course have whips, and we can get into those, but I need to let the dog out first. So I will be back. And we're back. Dog's had to pee. So moving on to whips, there's a couple of finishes in here as well. And we'll start with, not in any kind of order, basically whatever I have piled here and I reach for first. So I had never worked with perforated paper, so I ordered a kit from Mislaid Pages website, mislaidpages.com. It's a Mill Hill kit called Sticks. Leave Only Footprints. And this is where I got to on that. I started this at Stitch North and haven't touched it since. I need to get back to that. Yes, I'm putting them away. Putting them away. I'm hard of hearing as well, so I tend to mumble. And I'm trying to be very conscientious of that. So if you can't understand me, I apologize. It's a constant struggle. I've been hard of hearing my whole life, and I've worn hearing aids since I was 5. So. Alright, the next one is a pattern that was released at Stitch North. It is these 20 Stitches Beverly Glen sampler. Like that. Using all 4 threads, and it's on Catnap from Roxy Flosco. Wish I didn't write down the count. To the 28 or 32. So linen. Looks like 32. That's where I'm at. I am liking this. Just been distracted. All the other fun stitchy things going on. It's another thing I need to get back to. And this is not currently a whip. These are the Quirky Quakers I have completed so far. This is Quirky Quaker Raccoon, which was a Stitch Get Pass from Michelle Bendy. Michelle Garrett of Bendy Stitchy. Whoop. And then Quirky Quaker Cauldron. I'm just doing a bunch of them on this fabric, which is Morning Mint 28 count Lugana by Atomic Fabrics. So, very much a neutral, has a very slight tint to it. Sorry, I'm distracted with dog. Making sure he's not getting into anything he shouldn't be. Alex, lie down. in a moment. All right. He's settled now. He's back on his blanket and happy for now. We'll see how long that lasts. And my next whip is technically a finish, but I'm doing both patterns on the same fabric, so I'm calling it a whip. So this was a spring fling this year from the Inkari. These 20 stitches on Kanikari. These two patterns that we go on, and we still go on. So we still go on. I have finished this one. I have yet to start. I'm putting it on the same fabric, which is an Ada. Of course, there's no label. I believe it's 16 count. The needle minder was part of the spring fling kit, as well as the floss. So that's the first one. And then that's actually the second one. That's we still go on. We go on. I plan on putting here because it will fit very nicely, and then framing them together. And then the floss is Roxy Flosco. We had a choice of scavenger things or spoiled rotten. And the first one I did in the scavenger things, and we still go on. I'm gonna do in the spoiled rotten. That one. And then recently I just started Ink Circles Season Greetings. I started with the anchor. With the anchor. Oh my goodness. I started with the wheel, the top one. I'm looking at the anchor. And this is how far I am. This was part of a kit. So it's the called for fabric and floss, which is all classic colorworks. It came with all the flosses, the ring, season greetings. So I'm enjoying working on that. That's what will continue stitching on today because I'm almost done with this part of it. And then I can start the other two. My next whip is a stitch along with a group of friends in the community. They are doing Lord of the Rings themed stitch along and knit along. I do not personally have not gotten into knitting yet. I've dabbled, but I don't consider myself an actual knitter. So I am not knitting the Arda shawl, but I am stitching my tapestry by Modern Folk Embroidery. Uh, it's started in the monochrome. I am not doing it in monochrome. So this is where I am so far. So it's a little bit of tone on tone. It's the first pattern where I actually asked my husband his opinion because he is a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And he suggested greens and gold and silver. And the tree in the middle up here that's going to be here is actually white. So that's going to be white. So it's a variegated Mrs. Sada's silk for the border and backside. And the greens are just various greens. When I'm done, hopefully I'll have a list of everything I used and where. But at the moment, it's kind of a pick as I go. And I'm not sure where that needle linder's from. So that's that one. Sorry. That is on, got the bracket on it for my floor stand. The next one is a Diankari pattern. So this Transpride Tapestry. Gotta get the right one. They have a second one out that I have not started yet. This is on Mislaid Pages, 32 count linen. And that's where I am with that. It's been a while since I've worked on this. This is my first venture into 32 count linen. And I'm half a stitch off a little bit on a vertical. So I just have to make sure I follow it through to the end of that unicorn. And we'll be all right. No one will ever know. And then my last, I believe, there might be another one floating around, is a stitch along from, I know who it is, and I'm blanking on who it's from. Tiny Modernist, called Make Today Magical. I was caught up. Now I'm a couple parts behind. Is this another part just dropped beginning of this month? 7 parts. The last one actually drops in February. So I have plenty of time. These are the parts to where I'm stitched to. And you'll notice I've changed some things. I changed the skin color. I changed the fingernail color. Which you can't see that far down. I changed the position and the color of the circle around this eye. I think that's it. And I haven't stitched the arrow. I think I'm going to add the arrow in because the part on the other side also has an arrow. So, see where I'm at with that. Actually, pause you for a moment so I can take this off the scroll and show you the whole thing. All right. So that's the whole thing so far. So all the white is glow in the dark DMC. Like I said, I changed the color of the skin tone down here. I changed the mushrooms a bit because they were all charted very yellow for the stalks. And then I darkened up the blue on this one a little bit. I changed these gemstones. They were charted in a yellow. I changed them to purple. And there is some treasure braid in there as well for some sparkle. I changed the color of the words. The words were in white. I wanted to change it up a little bit. And then this brown is also the yellow. So I'm not a huge fan of yellow. And there's already a lot of yellow in it. So I just changed those up. I like the way it's coming along. And like I said, this circle and this triangle are in a variegated floss. I moved the circle down because that just made more sense to me. And the actual, it's usually represented, that third eye. So that's it for that one. So that's all of my whips that I'm recalling at the moment. I don't have my Notion app open. So to check myself and see if I forgot one, which is always possible. Plans. Keep working on these. I want to keep working on the Namari Yay tapestry. I want to try and get some more of this done. I'm not going to say caught up, but it'll get done close to, probably be caught up by the time the next drop happens in February. And then I do want to start Defiant. That came out by Marumi Crafts. I cleared that up today. So maybe next video you'll see that started. So I think that is all for now. Thank you for joining me if you're watching this. And until next time, hope you have a stay available. Follow Jessie of Mislaid Pages. Bye.